Walmart is the first national retailer to collaborate with you to leverage this depackaging technology. How exciting is that to hit a home run like that in the retailer market?
It doesn't get any bigger than that.
RJ, could you tell me, please, how did you learn about this technology and or service?
Yeah, Lisa, we've had a partnership with Denali for a while prior to this technology. Denali purchased a company called Organics, and so they were helping us execute our prior processes. Denali actually brought the technology to the table and asked us if it would be something that we would be willing to take a peek at. And so we said yes. We're always looking to innovate and work through means of continuous improvement. So we took a peek at it. We agreed on a proof of concept down in Phoenix, and we executed the proof of concept. And lo and behold, we had some huge benefits and results. And so we decided, hey, this is a good program with what we're seeing regarding the savings and the efficiency gains, and decided to move forward with expansion of the POC and eventually across the network.
Wonderful. Thanks for that. So the nationwide depackaging service for Denali rolled out in 2023 in Phoenix, as you had referenced. So it's fairly new technology, but it's not unproven, right? Did that matter to you, RJ?
No, not at all. I think it's our duty as the world's largest retailer to look at various opportunities from an innovation perspective and help prove the technology and help work through kinks in the innovation. And that's what we see in it as an opportunity to learn and grow in this space. And, we've seen the upside regarding our sustainability goals. And we went after it to partner with Denali to learn more about the technology and work through the opportunities and make it what it is today. And now that we know where the opportunities lie and we've worked out the kinks, it's time to extrapolate, and that's where we're at. That's where we're at in the process.
Okay, you mentioned this proof of concept. What was that all about?
It's really proving out the benefits of the program and the technology, right? So anytime that we're putting together innovation and business cases, we start at small scale. We identify the technology, we identify what the proposed gains look like, and we go after working towards achieving those proposed gains. And so we started in the Phoenix area where Denali had the technology and footprint and the infrastructure. We, set out a project plan. The team went to executing the project plan, identified opportunities along the way, worked out the kinks in the project plan, measured results on the backside regarding our diversion rate and labor efficiency gains. We proved out the cost against those efficiency gains, and we seen what the return profile looked like. Once we seen that we could meet the return profile, we determined what additional capital and cash flows we would need to expand. We gained those approvals, and off we went with extrapolation.
Excellent. Well, you've said a lot of things here that I have follow-up questions on, so I'll take them, one at a time here. But before we get into some of the details on all of that, I wanted to just ask. So depackaging, what I see is a great solution for the backside. Once the food product in your store is unsaleable, expired or the whatnot. But what is Walmart doing on the front end in its stores to minimize the amount of food that goes to waste in the first place? Because that's really most important.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes on with regarding, tightening processes and training our associates on those processes. There's a lot that goes on from a maintenance perspective and moving us from a reactive maintenance program to proactive to condition-based monitoring and ultimately predictive maintenance on the equipment that houses all of this food and the organics and fresh food that we sell. So we are not only improving our processes on the front end, training our associates, maintaining our assets, but we are auditing and validating the results throughout that to verify where the opportunity continues to lie, and we continue to refine. we'll continue to work through means of continuous improvement to refine those processes. Some of those processes are just how food comes into our building, lands in our equipment, to how we maintain that equipment, to how that food is sold, and how we work through means of protecting the food from damage from the general public, to how we identify when we do have food that is in a damaged package state or what have you, how we make those donations. And then again, on the backside, how we, recycle that food through organics recycling processes.
Okay. How did you guys decide which store locations should participate? And I'm assuming, because I know Walmart's got a lot of different types of stores out there. These are only the stores with that sell fresh food, right? It just makes sense, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, most of our stores sell fresh food. There's which is some of our older Division ones that we're currently not selling a lot of fresh food, but we still have fresh food in our D1s as well. The way that we chose the first proof of concept in Phoenix was basically Denali had the technology in place there and already had an infrastructure from a logistics perspective to pick up the food waste. And so that's where we started. And then we bolted on the logistics from there and began to spread throughout the country. And then as Denali began to set the infrastructure up throughout the United States, we worked with Denali to partner where we had the most opportunity from a organics recycling perspective, chose those locations to streamline the processes in those locations to gain the best benefit, low-hanging fruit, if you will.
Sure.
And then continuing to bolt on where we've seen efficiencies to bolt on. We wanted to make sure that we're smart from an economics perspective as we did roll this out. And ultimately, that's the way that it went. And now we're just continuing to expand based on the best way to expand based on the areas that we already have infrastructure in place and the ease of expanding that infrastructure.
Okay, thanks for explaining that. So there are a lot of products that have expiration dates, not just food. What are you doing to keep the non-food products like personal care products or maybe even household cleaners that have expiration dates out of the organic waste stream? I would imagine a lot of that is the associate training.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. The process that we put in place, the training that we put in place, the quality control that we put in place helps to mitigate the contamination of the organics waste, avenue, and ultimately is build processes, train against those processes, and execute quality control to validate that we do or we do not have our opportunities. As we identify opportunities, we go to work towards creating action and closing any gaps that we have. Denali also on the backside helps us from a poke yoke standpoint, old Japanese term for lean manufacturing on, identifying or having duplication and quality control. Denali's organics pickup process also helps to identify if there's contamination in our bins prior to sending it out to be recycled. So there's quality control in our process to mitigate any contamination.
Yep, that's helpful that everybody involved is involved on the quality side of things too. And doing a little bit of research on this, I noticed that Denali's website identifies meat, dairy, bakery, fresh produce, and prepared foods as products to include in the waste stream that they pick up. Is Walmart sending them all of this, or did you identify just certain types of food and why, or how did you decide what to include in this?
Yeah, we pretty much send them all of the food that we have that falls within the categories that they can recycle based on the various waste streams. Fresh food waste stream for meats and organics. There's also another waste stream which considers dry goods. We have not broken down the dry goods process at current state for the stores, but we are exploring that for our supply chain, so our fulfillment centers and DCs. So as you have larger recalls, vitamins to potato chips to candy, Denali has technology for depackaging dry goods, which then ultimately becomes cattle feed. And so there's things that of that nature that we're continuing to explore, but we have not gone down that path holistically like we have the fresh organics and meat waste stream.
I know the program is being implemented in more than 1,400 stores, with the nationwide rollout happening in 2025. So do you plan to implement this depackaging program for every store that sells fresh food? And does Denali have service in all those areas?
Yeah, so the game plan is right now we're in 100 or 1,400 stores. We're continuing to expand daily with the aim to be around 85% across the fleet by the end of this year, end of this fiscal year, and then picking up the backside, the last 15% moving into next year. We are working to help Denali expand their footprint with various ways to encompass all of those locations by way of building out the infrastructure needs, the equipment, the logistics, and the like. So Denali and Walmart are partnering on that rollout to make sure that we do have the infrastructure needed to support all 4,700 stores and all 600 clubs.
Elia, do you mind explaining a little bit more? So I know that you're introducing this technology, depackaging technology across multiple cities. How many locations do you have now? Where are they? And how far does the waste that you pick up need to travel to get to them? It sounds like this is you've got a good handle on making this a local operations, but in many localities.
Sure. And maybe as a background, Denali today has the nationwide fleet and coverage where we work with Walmart even before the introduction of the depacking technology to effectively recycle food waste nationwide, right? So our footprint is already nationwide. As we roll out the depacking technology to a lot of our outlets, today we're in 25 markets. We will expand to about 40 metro areas in the next few months. And if you think about coverage, population coverage, right, we believe that we will be able to cover by the end of Walmart's fiscal year, but at least 85% of their footprint. When we open up an outlet with depack capabilities, we not only service that city, but nearby areas as well, including rural areas. So to give you an example today, out of our depack facilities in Texas, we cover vast, and Texas, you know, a large geographical area. We cover today anywhere from North Texas to East Texas down to the coast, Houston, Corpus Christi, all the way to the border with Mexico and San Antonio, Austin, and et cetera, right? So huge geographical coverage with both thanks to the outlet network that we have, as well as the fleet of trucks and specialized trailers that we have in order to handle this kind of material.
This is a major program at the retailer side of things, but you target other businesses as well from a fresh food perspective. Restaurants, commissaries, do you do hospitals? What are some of the other businesses
Certainly.
that can contribute?
So when we work with our retail customers, we not only target the stores, but also the distribution centers. There is a lot of food waste that happens at the distribution centers as well.
Yep.
But we're not limited to just grocery stores. We work with restaurants, we work with corporate cafeterias, we work with quick service restaurants, sports stadiums. We have more and more sports stadiums as customers.
That's a great one.
That's right. So there is a lot of food waste in the country. And with Walmart, I think we are proving a model that all sorts of unsellable food can end up being recycled. Historically, again, for a variety of reasons, it used to go to landfills, but I see a future, not so distant future, where we can recycle and repurpose vast majority of the unsellable food in the country.
Yes, I know there's a huge focus today on circular economy, and this is a prime example of how it works. But I do have a question. So I know that there's a need to do this service, the depackaging and the organic recycling service, but you're in business to, make money. That's what businesses are in business for. Where do you sell the end products to? And quite frankly, I'm just wondering, is there good profits to be made in the organic recycling business?
So, I mean, as a private company, we don't publish our financial results, but I do have to tell you there is a lot of opportunity in the country to recycle not only food waste and unsellable food, but also green waste as well. So one of the things we haven't mentioned is we have a program with Walmart in a lot of their stores where we would recycle garden center type of, plants and materials as well. What comes out on the other side is usually compost or soils, fertilizers, renewable energy, feedstock, or most importantly, animal feed. So there are a lot of farms we work with throughout the country that find that material valuable.
How do these financials work? So Walmart pays for the depackaging service, right? And then wondering how much of an investment is that and what the return on investment, the ROI is on that. And then just to further explain, Denali picks up the food waste from the stores and then does the depackaging. And then you're the one who sells the product, the compost or the biofuel, animal feed. And then you get the revenue from that. Is that how it works? Or tell me how it works.
At a high level, our customers that we pick up unsellable food or other material that we recycle pay us for the recycling services. We then transport, process, repurpose that material, and there may or may not be revenue that is associated with the final product.
Wow, that's quite an investment on your part then.
Yeah, and it's a big investment to build a nationwide fleet of specialized, trucks and trailers to have the resources available, a nationwide outlet network, as well as a nationwide network of customers that are willing to take this product, right? Because what comes out of the recycled material at the end of the day has to find a home, has to have a beneficial purpose. And we do have to have a nationwide network of farms, energy companies, compost facilities, as well as ultimately the buyers of the compost. A lot of it ends up being landscape architects, homeowners, etc. But some of it we actually bag, and we put it in bag, and it ends up being then it's destined to store shelves, and it ends up back into the consumer's hands.
The other thing that I liked about this program was that the depackaging process is all automated. And according to your website, you do this with mechanical methods, shredding or crushing that separate the organic food material from its packaging. But you also say that water may be added to aid that separation process. So how does the water aid the separation process? How much water do you use? Is it repurposed after use? Are you using fresh water, gray water? How does the process work on your end?
It's very rare that we have to use water. A lot of the material
Okay.
we collect, yes, a lot of the material we collect has a lot of liquid already in it. So if you think of fruits and vegetables, meat, as well as other milk, eggs, etc., right, and other items, it has already a lot of liquid in it. So
Okay.
it's extremely rarely that we have to use water. We work with a lot of beverage manufacturers where, again, the product is either expired or recalled or damaged or mislabeled, or for whatever reason, it is not suitable to go on the store shelves. And what we do is we typically aggregate this kind of material. We run it through our depackaging equipment. The aluminum cans get recycled, the plastic gets recycled, and the water gets reused. A lot of our
Excellent.
compost yards need water in order to speed up the compost process. So we end up reusing the liquid for the composting process.
Okay, excellent. That's great that you're using as much as you can possibly use.
That's right.
According to Denali, the depackaging process technology and the expertise can separate up to 97% or more of all the trash from the organic food waste. How are you measuring that? Is it that by weight, by volume?
It's by weight, and what I need to clarify is when we receive the packaged material, at least 97% or more of it ends up being reusable organic material, which means about 3% of it is packaging.
Do your customers track their percentages of the separation, the what's been reused versus what's been collected? Is that a number that you share with them so that they can report on this with their
Yes.
sustainability goals? Okay, great.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. I mean, this is a big part of what we offer, right? As a national company, a lot of our customers are large grocery grocery chains, et cetera, and they all need the data back, right? So they all need the data so they can not only report their sustainability efforts, but they can also help manage their operations better. So providing them data by down to the store level, et cetera, is something that we do.
How do you think the service and program like this is going to impact the market for compostable packaging for food products?
I'm not 100% sure what that's going to look like. I think ultimately, as we continue to go down the path of recycling more, right, and keeping food waste and other organics out of the landfill, we are able to repurpose them for various needs, such as Ilya described. Whether that helps create the backbone for creating more compostable packaging, or other things that we haven't thought of today. We talked about cattle feed, we talked about energy, we talked about compost and various soils. But what else can we do with it? I think the sky's the limit as we get creative with it and we see our recycling pathways working and creating that full circle. I think it's be a matter of innovation. It's going to be a matter of thought for the greater good, to validate that we have the infrastructure needed to support the demand, and we have the raw materials needed to support the need. And so we'll see where this goes, but this may be an accelerator in that area. I think the biggest opportunity when it comes to compostable packaging is the cost and the infrastructure. And because the infrastructure is not in place, the cost is high. And so if we can get the infrastructure in place and provide more and more of the raw materials, you may see that cost come down. And as the EPA and others continue to evaluate the various compostable breakdowns and their ability to actually compost, then you may start to see more and more use of compostables in the future.
If I can also add to what RJ just said about compostable packaging in the waste stream.
Please. Mm-hmm.
We would love to see all of the packaging going to compostable, because in a lot of ways, then we would not even need to do as much depackaging, right? If there's no plastic in it, if there's no glass or metal or foil, we would not need to be doing as much depackaging. The challenge with compostable packaging in the moment, though, is that a lot of it is tested or certified in a lab, and in the real world, some of these materials, even though they may be certified as compostables, they take a long time to biodegrade. And that's not good from a compost manufacturer perspective. We are members of the CMA, the Compost Manufacturer Alliance, and the materials that get tested by the CMA, we know work really, really well, and they can go in the compost pile and be safe, and they would degrade quickly, and would not impact the composting process.